In episode 4, it is Halloween, a holiday that Leanne has never once celebrated. But while she doesn't celebrate it, the city does. I mean, there's vandalism from Mischief Night all over the place. And let me just say, it must just be this block because I've lived in Philadelphia all my life and we've never seen this. And while it's scary to come out to your car and see a dick sprayed in shaving cream, what's even more scary is what's going on inside the house with Leanne. She's confiding in that mannequin, acting like it's her mother, and saying how she hurts people when she gets angry, and she's starting to like it. After having this hard-hitting discussion with that mannequin, she heads up to the attic and finds both Bev and Bobby going through a bunch of the items from Dorothy's mother. They're looking for a last-minute costume for Jericho, and they're just having trouble finding one. They ask Leanne if she's planning on getting dressed up, and she says no, Halloween's for children. But Bobby says, oh, no, it's not. Halloween's a space to embrace your fears. You know, indulge in your darkest fantasies. This gives Leanne an idea. After Bev and Bobby rummage through that trunk, she takes the trunk outside to the homeless encampment. She opens up the trunks and says, I want you all out in the streets tonight. They're coming for me. They infiltrated my neighborhood? I think they've even bought one of the houses on the block. So tonight, I'm going hunting. These people are really good at hiding who they are, but if I get close enough, they always reveal themselves to me. But with these costumes, tonight we get to hide who we are too. As Leanne was talking to her homeless homies, Sean decided to decorate the house. Halloween has always been a favorite holiday of Dorothy, and she's just been in such a bad mood that he wants to brighten her spirits a bit. Julian tells Sean, this is a lost cause. As long as me and you are Team Leanne, Dorothy's never going to approve. And Sean is a little taken aback and says, I'm not Team Leanne. But Julian says, are you sure about that? She seems to make everything work out all right for you. It's something Sean's never thought of, but now the seed is planted in his head. Sean decides to decorate the house anyway, sending a picture to Dorothy, and she actually does like it. She gives him tips on putting more blood outside. But she's dealing with her own issue. The costume that Bev and Bobby put Jericho in, it's just not right. And Bev asked Dorothy, what did you put him in last year? Maybe we can dress him up in that. But the thing is, Dorothy can't remember. And the fact that she can't remember really bothers her. She feels like she is a terrible mother for not being able to remember what she dressed her child in on his first Halloween. She's also concerned that she has this whole period in her life that is just blank. She has no idea what happened. Sean comes into the room and interrupts this conversation because he's taking Jericho out. He decides to dress Jericho up in a lobster outfit, and he's going to play the chef. It's time to go trick-or-treating. But as Sean heads out, Leanne gets ready to do the same thing. She dresses up as this morbid doll. Right before she does head out, she's having a conversation with Julian, who's tasked with giving out the candy. And like most Halloweens, the doorbell rings quite frequently. That's when Leanne shows her ignorance to what Halloween actually is, because she grabs one such kid, scaring the crap out of him and dragging him into the house. It forces Julian to apologize to the parents, and he goes, what the hell are you doing? Halloween's about a PG scare, not a scare that sends you into therapy. He's legitimately pissed. He's also out of candy, so he leaves to go grab some more, and Leanne sees somebody standing outside that looks like they're just a trick-or-treater, but Leanne, being cautious, has her dagger behind her back. It turns out, though, it's just Toby. Leanne heads out to go on this hunting spree, and Toby follows her along, even though she continually tells Toby not to. The first house she goes to that she's suspicious of, it just turns out that they're cranky. They're new to the neighborhood, but they don't really pose a threat. The second house that Leanne was suspicious of, there's nothing there either. Leanne really tries to provoke the homeowner by even going inside this guy's house, but he doesn't, quote, reveal himself like somebody from the cult would. The fact that Leanne is striking out, it's really frustrating her. To make things worse, even though she told Toby to go home, she's got him following along. But then she gets to a point on the street where she realizes that whoever is behind her is not Toby. And that's when she figures that it must be somebody from the cult. So she attacks them, breaking their arm in half. Although it wasn't anyone from the cult. It was just a stupid teenager trying to scare her. Leanne isn't remotely remorseful about this. She simply likes terrorizing a little too much, and this is the holiday to do it. Her final act is terrifying a little girl who had the audacity to say, "Boo," at her. Using whatever power she has, she's able to set off the electricity boxes, sending everybody fleeing away from the street. It's as if the electrical wires literally just got cut by something. The fact that she's dangerous comes as no surprise to one individual who was watching her the entire night. It's her Uncle George, who was hiding behind a very simplistic ghost costume. He's been using Roscoe as a sleeper agent. Roscoe stopped by the encampment, but all they were doing was just getting drunk and partying in costumes. They weren't really being effective like Leanne wanted them to. So when he meets with George, he tells him they've all gone crazy. And George says her ideas are spreading into others. I mean, she's even attacking children. George's big concern is they waited too long to stop her, but at this point, their plan has to work. Roscoe's big concern is the fact that he has kids, and if Leanne finds out what he's up to, she's going to come after him and them. But George says, if she wins, there will be no world for your kids. We need you. You've kept us close to the family, and they're the only way that we can reach her. Roscoe is still a little bit concerned about this, and George can sense that, so he tells him, fear not. Certain pieces are already in place, and when the time comes, even the Turners will be ready to help us. George isn't wrong about that. When Leanne gets home, she's got a huge smile on her face as if she didn't just terrorize the entire block, but she can tell that something is wrong with Sean. He sits her down and says, I owe you everything. I know that. And I'm so grateful. But if it means losing my family and losing Dorothy, I don't want it. Leanne, though, cuts him off right there and says, Sean, you've already made your choice, so be an adult and deal with the consequences. And then she leaves. Sean then heads upstairs and wakes Dorothy up and says to her, I'm sorry. I only did what I thought was best for our family. I've lost you, and I'm not okay with that. And as long as she's in the house, you're never going to forgive me. So I'm prepared to do whatever it takes to get rid of Leanne. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.